You know what my problem is? I've been right about damn near everything that I had second thoughts about. And this might get me canceled. I'll probably lose a bunch of followers, but it is what it is. This is how my brain works. Everything that's institutional, I'm pretty much against, whether it's education system, religion, the food industry, the fitness industry, marriage, everything that society seems as normal, I automatically like the hair on my neck stands up like, yo, that's not normal. That's not even optimal. For me, this all started when actually, and I can't even say this started when I was meditating because I've been on this level of awareness since elementary school. I remember being like, why are we learning this stuff in school? I know the general population is not using the Pythagorean theorem. There's not. Most people aren't using physics in everyday life. So it's like, why can't we learn something more practical? That's just me. I know that the education system was based around the agricultural revolution. That's why it is the way it is. But I think the times have changed since then. Therefore, the education system should too. Same thing with marriage. If I'm getting married, I gotta have like two wives. It's just not gonna make sense to me. And even things like the bro split, simple things. I'm on the anti bro split. I really believe that we oftentimes do the same things that other people do without really pausing to question it. Obviously, I am plant based. I realized when I was getting my nutrition certification that a lot of the food we eat isn't optimal. It's just, it is what it is. We live in America. Our food quality standards are pretty damn low. If I'm going to hold myself to a higher standard, I need to hold myself to the higher standard. And for me, that was just going plant based. And all the decisions I've made have served me. And it might not be the same for you. I'm not even saying this to suggest that you adjust what you're doing. I'm just saying to slow down enough to pause and make sure that you're doing it intentionally because you choose to. That's all. And I get it too because we are under so much pressure to conform and to align with everyone else. There's a lot of societal pressures to go along with the path, right? I've always believed that the path less taken is the better path. We should be expanding on awareness, not just following previous steps in the snow, for example. Make your own path. That's my belief. That each person is an individual being, right? And each person has their own journey and own path. Will there be a lot of similarities? Of course, but I just feel like we are just often just doing what people said to do or what's normal. Normal is the last thing that anyone should want to be, which is why I am on the path that I'm on. I not just for like fitness and training, but running a business, meditating, having certain dynamic or expectation for my relationships. I don't want anything normal. Normal is really a backward step, especially if you want the most out of life. I feel like you have to be above average. And in the essence, everybody can't be above average. Otherwise, that just wouldn't work. So if you look at a bell curve or a scale, a bell curve is more accurate. I'm always using my economics background. But anyway, if you look at a bell curve, you will have outliers on either side, hence the brand outliers only, right? I should probably talk more about my clothing. But anyway, when you look at the outliers, there's the mean, there's the average, then that's usually going to be at the curve. So if a bell curve looks like this, and most people are going to be here, the people who are really struggling will be at the bottom end, and the people who are really crushing will be at the top end. You should always want to be at the top end because the benefits that you get from being there are so great. They're so great. And it just takes not being complacent with where you're at and I guess being really intentional. And that's really what it is. It's really about being intentional with what you want to do with your time and attention. I've realized this just because I've worked with so many men over the last 10 years that we all have the capacity to achieve the goals that we want. It's really just a matter of locking in and not negotiating with yourself. I know there's always something that's going to be pulling your attention, always. That is a given. But if you can structure your day, structure your schedule to the point where you're maximizing your productivity, your efficiency, you're going to just get more out of your time, which is our most valuable resource. It's not money, it's our time because time is going. This moment is now gone. You can't pay for it back. So those months, years, decades even of you trying to achieve something, that should be an indication that something needs to change, because the sooner you achieve it, the sooner you can get the benefit of it. And so to bring it all full circle, I know that there's a lot going on in probably in your life. And I only work with men who are 30, 40, 50, 60. I know what it's like to have a bunch of responsibilities to, for example, most of the guys I work with have a family, they're married, or maybe they're divorced. And what I'm realizing is it's really not circumstance. It's really like your intention and intentionality with how you navigate through life. And I think the biggest thing that we could all do is really just slow down enough to pay attention and be aware of what we're doing and why we're doing it. Because I always believe that the first step is always going to be awareness. If you can have awareness in the moment to moment to moment, you will make different decisions. But when you move out of habit, when you move out of unconscious behavior, that's really what messes people up. They buy the same things, food, for example, because it's convenient for them. Instead of like, do I really want this? Is this really what's going to help me get to my goal? Or am I just doing it because I'm tired? And that kind of ties into the other part of most people have decision fatigue. Most people are tired of like, Monday here again. Oh, damn, it's Monday. Every day I wake up, I'm like, yo, it's a new day. I'm so excited to be alive. Plus, the lifestyle I have is kind of dynamic. It's not like a standard lifestyle of the clients and staff and things of that nature. So I understand if you maybe have a career or job that you're not in love with. And I sympathize with that because I know what that could be like. However, you can still make the most out of your time. And at the end of the day, you can always shift what you're doing. If you don't like what you're doing, if you don't like the circumstance you're in, you can always shift it. And I think that's really the biggest thing that everybody could really benefit from, is being able to consciously shift from where they are to where they want to be. Now, that is an easy thing to do, but it's hard in practice. And when you think about it, I know a few people who've literally cold turkey stopped eating meat. They're just like, oh, I'm going to be vegan. I'm going to go plant-based. I'm just going to, just like that. And they did it. And that means we can all do it. It's just a matter of like our ability to make up our mind to just not do that thing anymore. Once you make up your mind, that's done. There's no more transformation necessary. Everything else is just going to come with it. And I think that's really the biggest thing that I know that a lot of people struggle with, being able to consciously just decide and commit to it. I know, and again, because I work with only men, I know the struggles that are present, whether it's, oh, I got to take care of my family first. I got to do this. I got to do that. I don't have time to meal prep. I don't have time to do the right thing. And that's just not true. I'm going to tell you what you don't have time for. You don't have time to waste. Every day that goes by is you getting older and you having less time being where you want to be. So ideally, we want to be where we want to be as long as possible, right? That just makes sense. And I say this because I have one client, well, I have a bunch of clients, but one guy I always think about, who literally, when he first started with me, had 2 jobs in 2 different states, 2 kids and a wife. And he was able to make it happen. I still remember him and Hildari, and he was like, yo, I've been dropping weight regularly. I've been trying to lose this weight for years, right? He's been kind of struggling with it for a while. And I just made some tweaks to what he was doing. And he didn't work out more. I think he actually worked out less. He made sure he got his steps in, which is something that I recommend to everyone. Make sure you get your steps in. It will help tremendously. Unless you're trying to gain. If you're skinny and you're trying to gain, don't move. Just eat and train. Just live in the gym. But for the most part, for people who want to just be healthier, drop some body fat, getting your steps in is essential. So anyway, really quick story. I had him working out, I think, 3 days a week, really dialed in his workouts though. His workouts were good before, but we really dialed in his warm-ups and his exercise selection and the range of motion, tempo, all that. But when he started just including his steps in his standard, whether it was at the beginning of the day or the end of the day, weight just came off. And so he made a commitment, for example, to not make excuses, even with his limited time. He made a mental commitment to lock in. He wanted to be a good example to his 2 sons. And I think that's a big thing, that we don't often pay attention to the effect that the decisions we make have on those around us, whether it's your family, your coworkers, or even your community. You'd be surprised at the effect that you have currently. and potentially could have if you were to be like that upstanding man that you can be. And so, long-winded talk, but I say all that to say we have the capacity to change, to make the world, to make our lives what we want. And it always has to start within, which is why I love what I do. I'm not just here to be buff and aesthetic. I am really here because I want to be the guy who inspires other men to raise their standard. This is one my shirt today says proven, right? And it's not meant to be loud. It's meant to be for me to know what I've accomplished is proven. I am the type of man who shows up and does what needs to get done. And that's really what I want you guys to maybe comment down below. What type of man are you? Who do you believe yourself to be? And you should frame it like, I am the type of man who does this, XYZ, so that I can XYZ. For me, I'm the type of man who is true to what he says that he wants to do so that I can achieve the goals that I want because I really want to impact others. I want to be a part of the change that I want to see in the world. Really quick, I remember growing up in elementary school, and this is probably why I'm still this way, and learning about reuse, reduce, recycle. I was learning about the environment and how we've been decimating other species, we're destroying the earth. And back then, as like a 8-year-old, I was like, this is wrong. We should be doing a better job. And at the time, I didn't really know how to do a better job. But as an adult, I realized like that's part of my mission of being the best version of myself, not just for me, but for the world, for the future of our next generations. Because if we keep going at this pace, one, we're going to not have the best fulfilling lives, but we're also going to destroy the world for those who come after us. And we often don't care about it because we're here, but you sometimes have to remove yourself from your objective perspective and maybe have a third person perspective, an over perspective, right? A bird's eye view of everything and not just of your timeline, but think about the rest of time. Now, that's not for me to really determine, and I can only do so much, but I can do what I can do. And who knows what the ripple effects will be? Who knows of the clients that I reach, who they influence, right? So if it starts with me and it ripples out and it continues to ripple out, I am really having a powerful impact. And I know I am because my clients' sons start working out or their daughters start working out. And if anything that I've noticed is people who work out from a young age, who have good health, they keep it. Now, if we're going to have that standard, it's only going to continue to ripple outward. So even though I'm only working one-on-one with these guys, I'm really working on 1 in 1,000 when you really expand and extrapolate out what that effect could be. And for the guys who work with me and eat less meat or even go plant-based, I'm having even a bigger impact on the world around. So I never really said it out loud, but that's really why I do what I do. And at the end of the day, I love what I do and I can get compensated well for it. So I'll be doing this for a long time until I find a higher calling. But anyway, till next time, comment down below the type of man that you are, who you want to be, and why, so that others can be inspired by you as well. Till next time, let's raise the bar.